Yeesh. Thank goodness for JMU, App State, Texas State, and Troy, because that was one ugly opening Sunbelt weekend. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. We have another weekend like that. I may have to open up the good stuff. That was nothing pretty about that one. Yuck. All right, so unfortunately, we're going to start off with the bad. We'll talk more about the good later on, and we'll dive more into the ball games, specifically later on in the week. Give me a chance to catch up. I am off Tuesday and Wednesday. Give me a chance to see the games that I did not get a chance to see. And I've worked all weekend and still working today on Monday. Hopefully, we'll have a couple of crossover episodes. I did get credentialed for the JMU Louisville game, so that'll be great. And, of course, we have Arkansas and Arkansas State as well. So we got a lot to do this week. But, boy, I bought into the hype with the Cajuns, and I was concerned. I admit that, but we can go back and look. I did bring that up a lot, right? We're counting on a guy who hasn't played football since 2021, right? 22, 23, 24. This is 25. So he hasn't played football in 4 years. Walker Howard, and it looked like it. All right, we even mentioned it. AJ Swan, he hasn't played football in 2 years, and it looked like it. And now he may be out a bit. Unfortunately, the best pass of the game for Walker got hurt after that. We don't know what is, as I'm recording this, we don't know what the injury is, but it doesn't appear to be good, whatever the case may be. So we'll see. But the Cajuns did not look good at all in the first half, period. Second half, the defense was outstanding. I mean, Rice did nothing offensively. So they made those adjustments. But I bought into the hype. I didn't quite understand on how you could lose 60% of your offensive line, including what had been at least a 2, if not 3-year starting center, Landon Burton, and expect to just pick up where you left off. They couldn't run the football. I don't understand how you can't run the football against Rice. But they couldn't. Didn't get it. And then you couldn't come up with plays that your quarterback and your wide receivers can complete. Either the quarterback is overthrowing the wide receivers or the wide receivers were dropping the balls. Couldn't come up with screens or swing passes to get the ball to Bill Davis or Zylan Perry in spaces. Don't understand it. So that wasn't good. We flip over to the other division that I picked, Georgia Southern, and that was worse, if it could be. All right, because they did look good to begin with, and then Fresno State made the adjustments. All right, you can go look at E.J. Warner. I know he's 20 of 27, but he's got 4 or 5 interceptions in 2 weeks. Made this almost an instant replay from week 1 against Kansas. Moving to his left, under pressure, underthrowing the receiver, throws an interception. I mean, it was verbatim, even heading in the same direction in the field, right to left. And so Fresno State is like, towards the end of the second quarter, decides we're going to start running the football, and Georgia Southern couldn't stop them. I ended up going to bed because that's a West Coast game, and I got to get up to go to work. They just couldn't stop them. All right. Georgia Southern offensively had the ball 5 times in the second half. 3 first downs. 3. Fresno State made the adjustments offensively and defensively. Georgia Southern didn't, either one. And the Cajuns didn't. They did make defensive adjustments, but didn't make any offensive adjustments. And then you have these coaches that I don't understand it. All right. Now, I'm very good at talking out of both sides of my mouth. So bear with me. All right. I have to find a new apartment. All right. I'm getting that date's getting closer. So it hurts my head to do that. Shopping for a new TV hurts my head. new car, all that stuff. I am anal retentive when it comes to that stuff. So trying to make a decision in 30 seconds is even worse. I can't imagine what that's like. Having said that, all right, I don't understand some of these decisions. The Raging Cajuns went down the field in their only touchdown drive, and it was an impressive drive. It was in the second half, and it was a great mix of quarterback run, only a 98-yard touchdown drive, 11 plays, 5 minutes, 9 seconds. First play was it? They seem to have those out of order. I thought it was Walker Howard. I guess it was a 3rd and 9. I thought it was a first down, but Walker Howard, QB draw, gets the first down. Bill Davis, 4-yard run. The drive got going on a 32-yard run by Bill Davis. Bill Davis, 4-yard run. Walker Howard, 6-yard pass. Zylan Perry, 11-yard run. Zylan Perry, 5-yard run. Incompletion. Walker Howard, 25-yard run. Touchdown. All right. Almost easy peasy. So did they get more than one third down complete? I guess the 3rd and 5. They had a couple of third down conversions on that drive, but only 2, starting from their own 2-yard line. So they go for 2, which, generally speaking, I'm not the biggest fan of. Analytically, I don't buy all that stuff. I try to wait until the last moment, but I don't know if they're going to get a chance to score again. They've had a grand total of 12 points. So it's end of the third quarter, go for the 2, fine. But you got to get tricky, right? The center goes out and he's sitting there for 5 to 8 seconds. And then the rest of the offensive line gets lined up there with 5 seconds left on the play clock. And then you're snapping the ball as quickly as possible, and you're rolling out Walker Howard because he's shown the acumen to be able to throw it on the run, and you throw it into nothing, and you miss out on a 2-point conversion. Instead of picking the next play on the play sheet and gaining 2 yards. I don't understand it. I don't get it. And then the Rice coach ones up Mike Desimo. The Cajuns, for some reason, with 7.5 minutes to go, the 2-minute timeout, and I thought at least one timeout, if not more, they go for it on 4th and 2. They're stopped. So Rice has it on the Cajuns 30. They're going to go in for a touchdown. They're up by 2. All right. It's 4th and 1 at the goal line. 4th and 1 from the 1. Instead of kicking the field goal to go up by 5 and forcing the Cajuns to go all the way down the field to score a touchdown to win, which they've done a grand total of 1 time in the game, super genius head coach of Rice says, we're going to go for the touchdown and put the game away. Of course, what happens? Fumble and sacked. All right. They recover the fumble, but it doesn't matter because they didn't get the touchdown. All right. Don't understand it. All right. I'm going to make the Cajuns go all the way down the field to score the touchdown because the field goal kicker has kicked a 47-yarder and a 51-yarder already. All right. Now, I guess Rice got a little bit lucky because unfortunately Walker Howard, on the best throw of the night, injures himself on a non-contact play. That's nuts. So we hope he's okay. We do. It was a good throw down the left sideline and would have got the drive going, but the drive basically ended because Daniel Beal came in and just didn't look good, but what can you say? All right. So it looked ugly. Can the Cajuns and Georgia Southern turn their seasons around? All right. We'll get into the good here a little bit later because there was some good. We'll talk about that when we come back. All right. We will do that after I tell you about game cap and game time. Quick question for all you college football fans out there. If you could go back in time and sit in your front row at your school's biggest rivalry game, what hat would you be wearing? Yes, I said hat. For me, it would be the game. These aren't just hats. They're the same vintage style fans wore back in the 80s and 90s. And guess what? They still go for the same price they did back then. When you use code LOCKEDON, you'll get your vintage hat for $16.99. Head to thegamecaps.com. Grab your team's classic bar retro circle design and use code LOCKEDON for an exclusive discount because legends wear the game. Sort of a little bit like this App State cap I am wearing that they were so gracious to send me. And game time. College football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually, getting tickets can feel more like a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices, jumping at checkout. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives you the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. All right? Hashtag always a bright side. You can use Game Time to get those tickets at what is a gorgeous stadium, Lady of Our Lord Stadium in Lafayette. Plenty of seats seem to be available. Again, hashtag always a bright side. And the reviews are in. The stadium is gorgeous, but there seem to be plenty of seats available. So use the Game Time app to get your tickets to go see the Cajuns play football this season. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt, your teams every day. One more request. It's actually an opportunity for you guys. If you want to win, a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card, we have a quick survey for you to answer. If you want to do that, you can go to, we have an important request. Lockdown wants to hear from you. We put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcasts even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to LockedOnPodcasts.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes the survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's LockedOnPodcasts.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes. Thanks for helping us out. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt, your teams every day. Can the Cajuns and Georgia Southern turn their season around? All right. For the Cajuns, we don't know. Honestly, right now, I'm not sure. If Walker Howard is out and we're going with Lunch Winfield or Daniel Beal, I'm going to be straight with you. Daniel Beal did not look good yesterday. All right. That is an opportunity yesterday. On Saturday, he has an opportunity, and he's a highly recruited kid out of Catholic High in Baton Rouge. All right. It looked like he came in and he had never played college football before. All right. I'm not sure about some of the play calls. Again, they did not need a touchdown. They lost 14-12. I don't even know if I said the score yet. They lost by 2, 14-12. And with the field goal kicker, who replaced Kenny Almendarez, he's already hit a 47 and a 51-yard field goal. So we only need to get it to the 30 or the 35. We don't need to go all the way down the length of the field. Instead of doing a few dump-off passes, right? I mean, the thing that they're going to do is play a little deep, right? We don't want anything going over our heads. Why aren't they doing 5, 10-yard passes? I didn't understand the play calling. And how about maybe hand the ball off or a QB draw on the first play just to get him the blood flowing a little bit? Instead, we're doing like rolling out and throwing passes. I didn't get it. He did not look great at all. Now, we'll see if that's who they go with. We don't have a report that Walker Howard is out, but again, I don't know I'm going to put it this way. I've not confirmed what the injury is, so I can't say it. And we'll let the people locally report that. Doesn't sound like he's going to be back anytime soon. So it's either going to be Lunch or Daniel Beal. We'll see who it is. Could be a combination thereof. All right. If the Cajuns can't run the football, they ain't winning anything. All right. That is their bread and butter. It's been their bread and butter for the better part of a decade and a half. Period. End of story. All right. The more they can run the football, the better football team they are. That is it. All right. Georgia Southern, on the other hand, they need to be able to stop the run. And they did not at all. All right. we're going to, let me tell you, oh, goodness gracious. If you want to hear, let me tell you the numbers that Fresno State put up. And then we're going to tell you the numbers that their next opponent put up. Okay. Fresno State, we're talking Fresno State. In this ball game, actually, Georgia Southern was leading 14-13 at half. All right. Fresno State put up 527 yards against Georgia Southern. 176 were in the air. 351 yards on the ground. They averaged 8 yards per rush. Georgia Southern averaged 5.6 yards in the air. That's not good. All right. Obviously. Somehow, Georgia Southern, with 3 turnovers, controlled the clock 38 minutes to 22. All right. This was 527 yards to 242 yards. All right. And Georgia Southern was controlling this game for about a quarter and a half. And then nothing. Again, 5 possessions in the second half, 3 first downs. And not more than 1 first down on one possession. Not at all. It does not get easier. Georgia Southern is going to start out 0-2. USC put up a 70 spot. All right. A 70 spot against Missouri State. All right. 73-13. All right. You want to hear some of these numbers? Almost 600 yards in this one. 597 yards. 364 yards passing. 24 out of 27. All right. 13 and a half yards per pass. 7.8 yards per rush. Third down efficiency. 6 for 7. They kicked 1 field goal. Was that at the end of the game? Because they got, let's see. When they kicked the field goal. They kicked the field goal in the middle of the game, 63-66. No. This is going to be a blowout. They went from, Georgia Southern went from being underdog to favorite to now being a, was that what I see, 27-point underdog? I mean, let me see here quickly. 27.5-point underdog. Does anybody think it's going to be that close? That game could be 30 by the time we get to that. Fresno State just beat Georgia Southern 42-14. We don't think that USC is going to do more than that. These teams got to figure this stuff out fast. Cajuns are going to have to go to plan B quickly. And unfortunately for Mike Desimo, for whatever reason, they haven't been able to keep their quarterback upright. Billy Napier, starting in year 2, had the same starting quarterback for 3 seasons. Levi Lewis did not miss a game, did not miss a start. Mike Desimo can't seem to go 2 weeks without his quarterback getting hurt. It is unbelievable. Those 2 teams could struggle here in 2025 in a big way. On the other hand, some other teams looked pretty good. Hashtag there's always a bright side. JMU, App State, Texas State, South Alabama, and Troy saved the weekend. Let's talk about them. We got to finish up on a high note. We'll do that after I tell you about Rougiet. Guys, you probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougiet Ready. Rougiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rougiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average, in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. If the traditional options haven't worked, Rougiet may be the answer. Over 150,000 men have already made the switch. I love that it's completely online, and Rugia connects you with a board-certified doctor and ships your treatment discreetly to your door. You can even read real customer reviews on their site. It's helping a lot of people feel more confident and present in the moment. Head to Rugiet.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege and use promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit Rugio website for full safety information. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. So I don't get the chance to thank you as much as I should when we have many more ads during the football season. But again, this is August was like the third best month ever. Like last, think of the month, I guess July was the best month ever. Again, thanks to La Tech and Texas State and Sunbelt Media Days. Last October 24, was the second best month ever. And yeah, those are the three best months. Those are the three best months. So July, August, July, it would have been July, last October, and now August. So we're having a great year. Really appreciate it, and it is a big support. Again, we're not 1,000 subscribers more than last year. We are 1,100 more, and we're continuing to grow. We got 100 subscribers almost in the month of August. So thank you so much, or pretty close to it, anyways. All right. We got to talk about hashtag is bright side. And what about a bigger bright side than Alonzo Barnett III coming back and playing for JMU? Again, didn't get a chance to see the game, but the kid made the start. So that's good to see. Again, we'll go more into details later on in the week. But overall, that's just tremendous news. All right. That makes my heart warm. James Madison with an easy win over Weber State, 45-10. Barnett, not sensational numbers, right? These are not fantastic numbers. He can put up better numbers than this. 14 out of 22, 130 yards with one touchdown. He did run for 5 times, 30 yards, and 1 touchdown. Matsluka played a little bit, 3 of 4, 15 yards, a touchdown, and 1 interception. This game was over, though. It was 28-7 at half. So easy win for James Madison. And again, they're coming to me this week. And remember, JMU fans, technically it starts on Thursday, although that's a VIP thing. But I hope you guys are planning on staying the weekend instead of taking off on Saturday. It's Bourbon Fest. So this is outside of, Kentucky Derby weekend. This is the weekend to come to Louisville. So we'll be having a lot of fun. Come down and see me at the distillery, little Jim Beam action. We will be down there all weekend. I will be at Bourbon Fest on Sunday. So looking forward to covering the game and seeing my guy, Bob Chesney. He's like, what are you doing here? I said, I told you I was going to be here. So we're looking forward to that. So a good start by JMU. App State, same thing, right? They had their win on Friday night. Again, we mentioned it. AJ Swan looked like he hadn't played football for a couple of years, got that rust out, and they played really well against Charlotte. All right. We'll see how that goes. Who do they got next? Let's see. But that's a nice win. They get Lindenwood. All right. And then they're at Southern Miss. And then they're at Boise State. Boise State didn't look good against South Florida. So we'll have to wait to see how that goes, right? Because as someone pointed out, Fresno State played much better in their second week than they did in their first week. So we'll see what happens. But there's no reason that App couldn't be 3-0. We'll see what Southern Miss does. Southern Miss played okay. We'll have to get back into that. They could have played better. I think they could have played a little bit better. All right. But App State certainly played extremely well. They're going to beat Lindenwood, and it'll be in front of a packed house in lovely Boone, North Carolina. So App State, Dowell Loggins off to a great start, starting 1-0 with a nice win in Charlotte. You know, that's going to get the fan base and, more importantly, some bucks heading their way into the mountains. So that's a good thing. All right. Final season in the Sun Belt, and Texas State lights it up. They get a big win over Eastern Michigan, 52-27. All right, Brad Jackson, 18 out of 26 for 4 touchdowns. That's pretty good, right? Lincoln Perry, 12 carries, 167 yards. How about that? Really balanced offense. Let's see what the offense was. All right, 606 yards, 400 yards on the ground. So not all that balanced, but 400 yards on the ground, 392 for Texas State, 214 in the air. So really efficient in the air for Texas State. Explosion on the ground, 39 attempts, 392 yards. That's 10 yards a rush. Unbelievable. They only held it for 31 minutes, even in the time of possession category. So maybe Texas State wants to work on the defense a little bit. They did give up 17 points in the first half. So it was 24-17. And they gave up 10 points in the fourth quarter. I presume some of the reserves were playing in the fourth quarter at that point in time. They did have Noah Kim is the quarterback. Didn't he play? He was at Coastal Carolina. So, all right. So Noah Kim is the starting quarterback at Eastern Michigan. Cajuns are going to see him in a couple weeks. Let's see what he did. 23 out of 34, 248, and a touchdown. But Texas State just outclassed Eastern Michigan in a big way. And then Troy was headed in the wrong direction. Again, following Josh Boutwell from the Troy Messenger, that was going in the wrong direction. I saw Troy, just via the Twitter, behind most of this ball game, and then all of a sudden, they're up by 2 scores. They put up 28 points in the fourth quarter. How about that? Heading into the fourth quarter, they were down 17-10. They won 38-20. How about that? So, again, that's why I have to catch up on some of these ball games. Goose Crowder, not great numbers, right? 14 out of 24, not great. 144 yards, not great. 3 touchdowns is pretty good. Tay Meadows, 23 carries, 186 yards. That's impressive. Goose ran for 43 yards and a touchdown. Let's see how this game turned, because it definitely turned. All right, so Troy gets in. Troy forces it. They score a field goal, make it 17-10. All right, and they force Nichols to punt. Then Troy goes on a 10-play drive, makes it a touchdown ball game. This is out of order. All right. No, they make it a touchdown ball game. Then Nichols gets a field goal, but then Troy gets a touchdown, and they bring it within 3. And then Nichols throws an interception. One play later, Troy touchdown. Nichols punts. 5 plays later, touchdown. So in the fourth quarter, Troy touchdown, Troy touchdown, Troy touchdown, Troy touchdown, kneel down. That's fast. Yeah. Whew. You go from down 17-10 to winning 38-20. That's all right. And I don't want to say that can turn the season around, because they're going to go to Clemson. All right. Clemson's not going to be happy. Okay. You can quickly find yourself 0-2. And now you're going to be 1-1 probably if you lose to Clemson. But yeah, you can. It would have been bad if you're losing to Nichols. And then if you start 0-2, then you get Memphis, and who knows what happens there? And that's on ESPNU. So things can spiral out of control fast, as maybe the Cajuns and Georgia Southern are going to find out. But Troy comes back with a big win for Jared Parker and his guys. So that was good to see. So because there just wasn't, I mean, Georgia State battled for a little bit, but that game got away from them, which you expected. Now, hashtag there's always a bright side. Marshall did cover the 38.5, the half being the huge part of that, 45-7 against Georgia. We'll see who their quarterback is moving forward. All right. It did not look good. Arkansas State also, I didn't mention them. They look good as well. All right. I didn't, not enough room in the, not enough room in the graphic to put everybody in there. But Arkansas State did play well. Southeast Missouri, they beat them 42-24. They blew it open in the second quarter with 21 points. They went into half up 28-10. So good ball game. My guy, Jaylen Raynor, I mean, goodness. 26 out of 32. 26 out of 32, 343 yards and 3 touchdowns. Oh, we may have found the Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Week right there. All right. All right. So we will see. I'm going to see if what I could do on Monday. Since I'm off Tuesday, I may post the game, the episode a little bit late, only because I want to check out some of the highlights. I can do it when I'm working out and stuff like that. So it may not be too late, but at least it gives me a chance to see some of the games to know what I'm talking about. Because I saw a little Cajuns. I did see App. Saw South Alabama. Not bad. Again, they're going to take the over on that. We didn't talk about South Alabama. What they win? 38-21 against Morgan State. Craig Stevenson said with their upcoming schedule, everything was very vanilla, which is okay, but Morgan State went right through them because I guess they could. They won 38-21. The over-under was like 50. And again, they had 367 yards of offense. Morgan State put up 340. All right. Bishop Davenport, very efficient, 12 out of 14 passing, 2 touchdowns. Kendrick Bullock, 127 yards on the ground and on 23 carries, 2 touchdowns. Devin Voisin, the 18-year senior. I'm kidding, Devin. I'm kidding. He had a punt return for a touchdown. So South Alabama looked pretty good as well. So again, there are some teams that did play pretty well in the Sun Belt, but the 2 of the top teams did not. All right. And we didn't get to ODU. They actually hung with Indiana, but Colton Joseph kind of looked like Grant Wilson to begin last year. 3 interceptions. I mean, that's the kind of game, you know, if Indiana puts up 45, okay, but they didn't. They put up 27. That's the kind of game that you could win. You know, 2 less interceptions and more points on your end and less points on their end. You know, that's the kind of point. That's the kind of game that you can actually win. But they did cover. So there is that. All right. Again, thank you. I'm kind of rambling. It's time to wrap it up. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. And again, thank you again. 3rd best month we've ever had. Certainly the 2nd best month we've had this year. So there is that. So I do appreciate that. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and Apple and Spotify podcast. It is sincerely appreciated. All right, everybody enjoy the holiday. I'm going to work double time. You got to appreciate that. I love that. And we're giving bourbon tours. Is it really that work? Do we really consider that work? It's not all that much work. It is a lot of fun. So if you guys are coming to town this week, JMU, come see me, Claremont, Kentucky. Once again, you've been watching Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Have a great Monday, everybody. We'll talk to you again on Tuesday.